What is up, Pitt fans? Thank you so much for tuning into Inside the Panthers on YouTube. My name is Stephen Thompson, coming at you with another Inside Pitt practice report on the final day of preparation for the Pitt Panthers as they get ready to take on North Carolina. There's a sense of urgency around the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex this week. You can really feel it, not just kind of in the air, but when you're talking to Pitt players and coaches, you can tell that they really need a win desperately, and they know it. With the ACC opener one day away, you can start to see the schedule get a little harder. It definitely gets harder as the schedule gets into ACC play. You can see a lot of teams around the conference have really taken a step up or taken a step forward and started to outperform expectations a little bit. So this conference schedule is going to be a lot harder than I think you thought it might be at the beginning of the year. So it'd be nice to get a shot of confidence to open conference play. Like I said, the last time the Panthers started 1-3 was 2017, and that was the year they finished 5-7. That's the only year with a losing record in Pat Narduzzi's tenure as head coach. And that year they needed to bring in Kenny Pickett at the 11th hour to knock off number 2 Miami and salvage the year. So you can tell this is still early, but it is a crucial game against number 17 North Carolina. So it'll be a tall task as well, but one that the Panthers need to get on their side to get back into the win column and get this ship righted. So today, we're going to dive into how the Panthers plan to do that and earn one against the number 17 team in America. So let's start there. Let's start on offense. It's no secret that the offense has been holding this team back in a major way. I think you can tell that just by watching the games. And when you watch, it's really, in a lot of ways, fallen on the quarterback play, but Phil Dracovic is going to remain the starting quarterback. Don't think that comes as any sort of surprise, but Pat Narduzzi confirmed that today as we talked to him. But instead of making a change at quarterback, Pitt's going to try and make things a little easier on their quarterback. And that means another heavy dose of the run game, like they did against West Virginia or tried to do, because Pitt believes that's how they'll get everything started. I think the good news is that Rodney Hammond will take the bulk of the carries. He's recovered from an undisclosed preseason injury. Pat Narduzzi told us today, fully recovered, so fully healthy, and they expect a lot out of Rodney this week. He'll take a ton of carries, even more than he did against West Virginia. And, I think that's a good thing. In addition to being their most effective way of attacking defenses right now, also help him control the clock and keep the ball out of Drake May's hands. It was really encouraging, I think, to hear that Hammond will be the guy. I think everyone was kind of left scratching their heads after the first 3 weeks of the season when you looked up and you saw, okay, Rodney Hammond has taken 25 carries. Phil Dracovic has taken 28. Sebo Flemister and Daniel Carter have taken 21 each. That's a pretty even split between your top 4 rushers, when I'm not sure that's what it should be. I like Phil running. He's actually a pretty good runner and a good scrambler. But when you talk about those running backs, Rodney should be clear far and away the running back that you're handing the ball off to most of the time. He's your best, most talented rusher. So, hearing that he was a little hampered by an injury, while that's not super encouraging, it is encouraging to know that there was a reason why they were maybe holding him back, trying to keep him fresh and get him back healthy for this one. So sounds like he's ready to go, and sounds like they're going to put a lot on his plate. They're also going to put a lot on the offensive line's plate this week. This is a North Carolina defense that sacked Spencer Rattler 9 times in the season opener. And this is a Pitt offensive line that is allowed, and this was really stunning when I saw it this week, although I guess, maybe not that surprising when you think about it a little bit, but Pitt has allowed the highest pressure rate in the country. Full stop. They've allowed more pressure on quarterbacks at a higher rate than anyone in the country. And that is certainly not what was expected out of this unit, even after they had some moving parts with Ryan Jacoby going down, the starting lineup being shuffled around. That's not something that anyone expected. And you don't want to put everything on the offensive line. I think the quarterback certainly, has some blame to share in this scenario too. But when you see that, highest pressure rate allowed of anyone in the country, that's really concerning. And it's something that the Panthers definitely need to turn around. Pat Narduzzi said he thinks that they've addressed some of those issues, that they'll start to get better at that. Talking to Andre Powell, running backs coach this week, he said his running backs have a part to play in that as well. They've been in the right spots, but just not getting down to the technical aspects of blocking as well. So, we'll think about that. We'll watch for that running game and how the offensive line plays in pass protection when we start to think about where this offense is going, try to get some hints about how the game's going to go, and think about how, honestly, Phil Dracovic is going to react to hopefully getting some more help from his supporting cast. So we'll see how it goes, because You think about Phil's last stop at Boston College, one of the reasons for optimism coming into this year was that he was going to play behind a much better offensive line. Boston College had one of the worst in the country, but the Panthers, their pressure rate right now is in that same territory as the BC offensive line was in Phil Dracovich's last year, and that's not company that you want to be. That's not territory you want to be in. So, like I said, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the running game is able to get things kickstarted with Hammond fully healthy and getting a full workload back there. On defense, it's pretty simple. Everything revolves around Drake May. This guy is one of the best players, not just one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and everything clearly revolves around him. He can do it all. He can run. He can pass. He can play on and off schedule, and really, I think, make any supporting cast look really good with him. I'm a huge Drake May fan. I think he's completely deserving of all the hype that he's gotten. He's easily a top 5 draft pick. He will be the second quarterback taken. If Caleb Williams didn't exist, this guy would be the next kind of generational quarterback prospect that we're talking about. So when you think about stopping what he does and addressing what he's able to do, Narduzzi really pointed out that the key is not to panic, to stay on your keys and not panic or overreact when he makes an incredible play either with his arms or with his legs. When I think about what happened last year, and remember the Panthers went into the fourth quarter, I believe, up 3 points on North Carolina in Chapel Hill before obviously allowing up 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter and losing the game by 18, I believe it was. If my math checks out. So, but I think about that game, and I think that Pitt played decently well for at least 3/4 of that game. That was an offense that was averaging north of 35 points per game, I believe, and Pitt held them to I want to say, yeah, I think it ended up being 42 points, but it was a much more competitive game for most of that. So, but even then, I thought the DBs played pretty well last year, and it didn't really matter. May was just putting the ball in such great places, and he had such great receivers that it didn't really matter. And then that problem was exacerbated by the defensive line losing Kalachi Kancey, and then the pass rush and the run defense, I think, trying to overcompensate for that loss. What Pat Narduzzi said to us was that they just need to be a little bit calmer. Trust the scheme, make plays that are in front of them, try not to do too much, or else May's going to hurt you, and he's going to really expose overreactions and weaknesses off of that. So, it's not all about completely shutting him down. I don't think that's an expectation. I don't think that's something you can do. But it's about making the plays that are in front of you, tackling well, and just staying in your lanes and making May make the difficult plays. Don't give him anything easy. And I think kind of the overarching message, and he said this about the defense, but I think it applies to the entire team as well, is that you're going to have to beat Drake May, who's the centerpiece of this entire team, as a team. You're not just going to be able to send blitzes in a furious rush after him and expect to win that battle there, because then he can scramble and make plays off schedule. You can't just drop 8 and expect to be able to contain his arm, because he has such an accurate arm. And again, he can create things that you might not even see on your first run around. And then you think about the offense, like you need to actually possess the ball. You need to keep the ball out of his hands in addition to scoring points and giving your defense some rest. So, like I said, this is going to have to be a complete team effort to pull off this upset. The line is only, I think, around 7.5 or 8 points. But, man, when I was thinking about this game after the West Virginia loss, I thought it would be much higher than that. I thought it was going to be at least double digits. Pitt getting a little respect for their home field advantage. I guess that's one of the advantages. I don't think North Carolina has won at Pittsburgh in a few years now. I think it might be half a decade or maybe even more than that. So, those are all things going in the Panthers' favor as they look to get back in the win column. Like I said, haven't started 1-3 in 5 seasons, and it's usually a bad sign when they do. So Panthers will try to avoid that and try to get back into the win column, get back on the right track, right the ship, and just make something out of the season, which has gone so poorly to date. So with that, I'm headed out of here. Thanks for tuning into another Inside Pitt practice report. Like I said, this is a crucial game for the Panthers, so keep up with all you need to know this weekend headed up to game time and through the end of the game, then obviously post-game reactions on Saturday night and Sunday. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/@InsideThePanthers. And like I said, find all our reporting at InsideThePanthers.com. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all after the game on Saturday.